All right, today we're talking about lesson 6.1.2. So if you look at example 1, it says write the slope-intercept form of an equation for the line that passes through the point 5, -2 and is parallel to the graph of 8x minus 2y equals 6. So let's go through and identify the key parts here. So the first thing said write the slope-intercept form. So hopefully you remember that means we are going to write y equals mx plus b form. It says of the line that passes through the point 5, -2. So that's a point that is on the line of the equation that we're going to write and is parallel. That is extremely important. Parallel means that we have the same slope. Parallel lines have the exact same slope. And our equation is going to be parallel to the graph of 8x minus 2y equals 6. So the step 1, we're going to rewrite the given equation in slope-intercept form. So one more time, slope-intercept form. Is y equals mx plus b. That is something that we need you to know. So we're going to take the given equation 8x minus 2y equals 6, and we're going to transform it into y equals mx plus b. So we need to get y by itself. So there's a positive 8x, so I'm going to do the opposite and I'm going to subtract 8x. So on the left-hand side, don't forget to bring down, once those 8x cancels, a negative 2y. On the right-hand side, those are not like terms, so I'm just going to rewrite them as negative 8x plus 6. Now we can divide everything by -2. So y would equal negative 8 divided by -2 would be a positive 4x. And then minus 3, 6 divided by -2. So y equals 4x minus 3. So the only thing I need from this equation is its slope. So step 2 says identify the slope, and our slope is 4. So the parallel slope, so I'm just going to use that symbol for parallel. So if the slopes are parallel, they would be the exact same, so the parallel slope would also be 4. So that parallel slope is 4. So we're going to substitute the slope and a point on the line. So if you remember, the point on the line was 5, -2. So we're going to substitute that slope and a point on the line into the slope-intercept form in order to find the y-intercept of the equation. So y equals mx plus b. Well, we have the slope, and we also have the point on the line. Remember, the point on the line is a solution. So we actually can represent the x value as 5 and the y as -2, since it is a solution to the equation. So y, we're going to plug in -2 equals 4 for the slope, 5 for the x-coordinate, plus b. So the goal right now is to solve for b. So we multiplied 4 times 5 to get 20. So now the next step to solve for b would be to subtract 20 to both sides. So -2 minus 20 is -22. So now we have everything we need to write the equation that was parallel to that given line. So we would say y equals mx plus b. So y equals, we knew the parallel slope was 4x and the b value was negative 22 because we just solved for b. So this is the equation that is parallel to our given line that passes through the point 5, negative 2. So we can look at this given line and our answer. So our answer, y equals 4x minus 22, and that given line, 8x minus 2y equals 6. And let's check out what their graphs look like. Well, if you notice, their lines never intersect. They indeed are parallel. So our equation, y equals 4x minus 22, is perfect. So example 2 says, write the slope-intercept form of the equation for the line that passes through negative 1, 6 and is perpendicular to the graph of negative 10x plus 5y equals 20. So this again is asking for slope-intercept form, so we know that is y equals mx plus b. It passes through the point negative 1, 6, but this is the key, perpendicular. Last time it was parallel, so they had the same slope. This time it's perpendicular. So perpendicular lines have opposite signs and reciprocal slope. So remember, reciprocal just means that flipped version of the fraction. So we're going to start off the same way. We're going to start off with, we know it's perpendicular to the graph of that line, negative 10x plus 5y equals 20. So we're going to take that equation, negative 10x plus 5y equals 20, and we are going to transform it into y equals mx plus b. So the goal again is to solve for y. So to get y by itself, that's a negative 10x, so we're going to do the opposite and add 10x to both sides. So I would get 5y equals, remember these are not like terms, so we're just going to rewrite it as positive 10x plus 20. Now we can divide by 5. So the equation is y equals 2x plus 4. So because this was not solved for y, we had to do this original first step. The only thing I need from this is the slope. I could care less about everything else. So the slope is 2. So we want to know what's perpendicular to slope 2. So I'm going to use that symbol for perpendicular. So if our slope of our given line was 2, let's talk about perpendicular slope then. Well, 2, let's make that a fraction of 2 over 1. So opposite signs, if the original slope was positive, our slope would be negative for perpendicular. And it would be the flip version of that fraction, so it would be negative 1/2. So step 3, we're going to take this perpendicular slope of negative 1/2 and we're going to find the y-intercept. So we're going to take the slope and a point on the line and we're going to find the y-intercept. So our perpendicular slope was negative 1/2. A point on the line is negative 1/6. So let's take this information and plug it into y equals mx plus b. So remember, the x value can be -1 and the y value can be 6 because that's a point on the line. So instead of y, we're going to plug in 6 equals, the slope was -1/2 times x, which is -1, plus b. So we are going to solve for b. So -1/2 times -1 would be a +1/2. So now I'm going to subtract 1/2 to both sides. So 6 minus 1/2, if I pull up my calculator here, 6 minus 1/2, if I hit enter, it's going to give me a decimal. We're going to want a fraction, so hit math, enter, enter. So it gives me 11/2 is the y-intercept, is B. So let's put it all together. We have to write the equation in slope-intercept form. So we're going to plug everything into y equals mx plus b. So this would be y equals, the slope perpendicular is -1/2, x, and then plus b, which is 11/2. So this is the equation that's perpendicular to that given line and passes through the point -1, 6. So let's look at this equation and the original equation and see if they look perpendicular on a graph here. So if I open up Desmos, what do you notice about the two lines? They do look like they intersect to form right angles. So it is clear that these two are perpendicular. So we did do this one correctly to get the final equation of y equals -1/2 x plus 11/2.